Every day across the planet, millions of people are recording moments from their lives. Each one of us providing a unique window on the world. With so many cameras capturing every single second of the 21st century, it's no wonder that they're revealing some of the most incredible footage ever seen. Today, devices like this mean that we are all potentially reporters, able to gather news from the four corners of the globe in an instant. Once again, we've been around the globe with our cameras to hear the stories firsthand from the people who were there when the unthinkable and sometimes the unimaginable unfolded before them.
He's alive, he's alive. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
So, over the next hour, prepare for more remarkable scenes captured by all sorts of people. These are moments you might never believe if they weren't caught on camera.
Oh, there you are.
Since time began, the human race seems to have had an unshakable desire to tell great stories. But today we can't only tell them, we can also show them. So if you fancy yourself as a budding David Attenborough and you're set for an encounter with the natural world, don't forget to take your trusty companion with you. It's man's new best friend. Brad Rich was on board a friend's boat near Resurrection Bay, Alaska, when he picked up his mobile phone after sensing something in the water.
I hear him! Holy! Oh my God, they're running! Oh my God,
Brad caught on camera this incredible sight of an entire pod of humpback whales breaching the surface of the sea in perfect synchronicity. This captivating clip was taken in Palau, in the Western Pacific Ocean. It shows Catherine Tran enjoying a peaceful swim in Jellyfish Lake. With no natural predators in this stretch of water, the jellyfish have evolved with stings that are harmless to humans. So floating with these strange creatures can be enjoyed as a safe but also surreal experience. Florida resident Miranda Peterson films the mesmerizing moment a fever of hundreds of stingrays glides majestically through the shallow South Tampa waters. Each measuring up to 4 feet across, these cow-nose rays are known to make migrations in groups of up to 10,000 miles. Meanwhile, German doctor Gerd True filmed this apparently tranquil scene while taking a stroll along a Brazilian beach near Rio de Janeiro. What he didn't realize was that he was about to record the moment when a pod of over 20 dolphins became stranded on the beach. Lifeguards and beachgoers dashed to their aid. It led to a moment that went viral on the internet, shared by millions around the world. But our next extraordinary rescue, which took place out at sea, presented an even greater challenge. North Carolina-based husband and wife Michael Fishback and Heather Watson have made it their life's mission to protect the world's great whales and their habitat. But on one unforgettable day, as they finished a morning's work in the Gulf of California, they came across an unexpected and unwelcome sight.
As we were going, all of us saw this bump out in the distance. My heart sank. I thought, oh, this is a dead whale. And then it's alive.
The exhausted young humpback whale had become entangled in discarded fishing nets.
The whale was literally in a straitjacket. It could hardly move. This whale had not a chance in a million of surviving without human intervention. Nothing else could have saved this whale's life.
holy mackerel, we are going to be here for hours or days. I mean, I've heard about what it takes, and I know that everybody on this boat is going to want to free this whale.
Armed with just a knife, Michael swam to the whale to attempt a rescue.
And I went in the water and I locked eyes with this whale from, I mean, this far away.
But on closer inspection, the situation looked much darker than the couple's original diagnosis.
When I saw the amount of net that was on the whale, I just couldn't imagine how we were going to get all that net off. And it seemed daunting. It seemed doubtful that we were going to succeed. It became evident pretty quickly to stop cutting and come back aboard with a clear vision of what we were up against and to continue this process from the boat.
She's right here. She's right here.
It was just basically holding and cutting. Holding, pulling, and cutting. It was all done by hand.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
He knows
You know
what we're doing.
He's got to be able to breathe, too.
We were attached to the whale by the net. So when the pectoral fins came free and the whale could begin to swim, well, maybe it thought it was free.
We are now going for a backwards
We are
ride.
being taken for a ride by a whale.
So we just held on, and we got pulled for about a half a mile through the water by a whale with the engine off. You know, it was pretty wild stuff.
And then I saw the tape had rolled for maybe 45 minutes, and we were finished.
Did we get her?
Yeah.
Get it?
See?
Yeah! Yeah! We did it! Woo!
I could see that there was no more net, and then we took off. And, you know, had the show of a lifetime, didn't we?
Look, there she is.
Where?
And it was obviously just stretching its body in every direction and just saying, ah, thank goodness I'm alive.
Yeah!
Yay! And it seemed like it was just going to go on forever.
Oh, there you are. There she is again.
Yeah!
Wow. There she is. Wow.
Michael and Heather have been involved in whale conservation work for over 20 years, but this rescue instantly became one of their proudest moments, and now has been seen online by over 40 million people.
She just hit the edge of this thing, never saw it, rolled and wrapped herself up in it, and then we came along.
An extraordinary rescue off the coast of California, and a happy ending that could grace the best of family movies. And our next series of clips also wouldn't look out of place in a Hollywood blockbuster, but for a very different reason. In China, this was the moment a huge explosion rocked a petrochemical plant in Shandong province. The accident, caused by a gas leak, took over 130 firefighters 24 hours to contain. Incredibly, there were no casualties. A house in Fresno, California was engulfed in flames when a brave firefighter attempted to control the blaze.
Open that thing!
This astonishing footage was filmed by bystander Suji Lee, who also managed to capture the heroic response from the other firefighters who broke into the burning building to rescue their colleague.
Did they pull him out? Oh, dude.
Although he suffered serious burns, the 49-year-old firefighter is today well on the road to recovery. An explosion at a fireworks factory in Grenada, Colombia, knocked this witness off his feet. 5 warehouses full of gunpowder went up in smoke, creating this impromptu daytime display. And the only thing the man behind the camera could do was to take cover and try to enjoy the show. The next unbelievable footage comes courtesy of business development manager Scott Jones and public relations student Ali Coonrad.
This was my first rocket launch, and definitely a memorable one.
In October 2014, they set up their cameras in Virginia to record the launch of the unmanned Antares space rocket on a supply mission to the International Space Station.
Everyone kind of had their cameras out. The regular press were there with their cameras.
Oh my God. When they started counting down, it got kind of quiet, and we were really excited.
5, 4, 3.
2, 1, you could see a bright light.
You hear all the flashes going off on everyone's cameras, and everyone's like, oh, wow. And then
The rocket started to go up, and since I've never seen a rocket launch before, I wasn't exactly sure what it was supposed to look like.
we all knew something was wrong about 5 seconds into the launch.
With a failure in the main engine system, the Antares mission was instantly doomed.
And we saw, like, kind of this bright flash.
Pretty much immediately, the folks at NASA were telling us to run for the buses.
Let's go! Get out to the front!
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, guys! Go, go, go!
As we're leaving the press site, you can see this fire just, like, engulfing the whole site.
Oh, my God.
You could feel the heat on your face, even from over 2 miles away.
We're picking up all of our equipment and stuff. The shockwave hits, and we're all just running for the bus.
Go, go, go!
Despite the devastating explosion, miraculously, no one was hurt. But NASA's multi-million-pound rocket was completely destroyed.
Even though I know now that I was safe, for a few days I was shaken up about it.
It was definitely one of the most unbelievable things that I've ever captured on film myself.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Coming up, find out what stopped this motorcyclist on her morning commute into work.
Stop, stop, stop!
As a nation, we're obsessed with the weather. How cold, how wet, or how windy it is on any given day fills countless conversations across Britain.
And it's no wonder when scenes like these unfold. In December 2015, parts of the UK, including Cumbria, saw some of the worst floods in years.
He's staying.
And it was pictures from members of the public which brought the devastation onto the news. But it's not just in Britain where people pick up their devices and record the wildest of weather. In the Briar Creek area of Raleigh, North Carolina, Ed Braze recorded the moment a storm passed over a brand new apartment complex.
Sure. So scary, man. Oh no! Look at that!
In Brazil, a terrifying sea tornado heads out of nowhere toward a crowded beach, sending people running for cover. With debris hurtling around their heads, these bathers were lucky to escape injury. Near Alicante in Spain, this brutal hailstorm smashes the windscreen of Juan Martinez's van. Sensibly, the driver decides to sit this one out until the savage storm has passed. In Bashkiria, Russia, Ryabakon Nikolaevich had decided to venture out despite an impending tornado. But after a quick change of mind, he makes the wise decision to return the car to the garage. Or where the garage used to be anyway. On Lowari Top, a mountain pass in Pakistan, a bus gets stuck trying to cross a river after torrential rain. The bus hangs precariously on the rocks, but not all the passengers are free. Fortunately, the final traveller does make it to safety after the luckiest of escapes. Amazing clips of nature behaving very badly. But every year brings new tales featuring the very best of human nature, from the streets of London to the highways of Oklahoma. And fortunately, the cameras were there to record some extraordinary rescues.
Good evening, welcome to the ITV News in London. Tonight's main stories. Londoners are great. The woman freed from under a cab by passers-by says thank you.
London office worker Mazen Harb was busy at work when a terrifying incident took place on the road outside his office.
I was at my desk when all of a sudden I heard this loud bang. And then when I looked out the window, I could just see what looked like someone under a cab.
3 floors below, record company boss Laura Fairs was on her way to a meeting.
The black cab was pretty much in the middle of the road, right there, basically. And she was under the front wheels of the cab. People were just standing here watching the whole thing, not doing much at that point.
As the pedestrian lay helpless, trapped beneath the 2-ton vehicle, Laura's instincts took over.
We were all strangers. Random group of people. I thought, no one's taking charge here. I'm going to take charge. Put your phones away. Come and help. She's dying.
Having first checked with paramedics, Laura rallied the passing public to help lift the taxi off the badly injured woman. Back in the office, Mazen began to record the incredible scenes.
I picked up my phone because I needed to capture how so many people just jumped in to rescue this lady that was under the cab.
That's crazy, I haven't seen this. Oh, that's beautiful. We're trying to tilt it, we're trying to do a rocking movement.
Dozens of workers had joined in the dramatic rescue, but Laura realised there weren't enough. They needed even more muscle.
Look, I'm keep calling people in. Come on, guys. Look, they keep coming. They keep coming. They're trying to find any little gap just to come and push. Just come and push.
After 3 grueling minutes, the public's heroic efforts finally paid off.
They were able to lift the cab up, and it was amazing. You don't see this every day, especially in a city like London.
Back on the road, paramedics could now get on with the job of treating the patient.
That's her friend, yeah.
Despite suffering injuries in the accident, Claire Miller has now made a successful recovery. Meanwhile, over in New York, this time it's neighbours coming to the rescue, as a 4th-floor apartment rages with fire and a man is trapped inside by the flames.
Oh, le abrieron el apartamento de abajo. Le abrieron el apartamento de abajo para que pongan la cadera. ¿Qué es él? Lo de abajo, sí, lo de abajo.
As the blaze intensifies, the men use a ladder to create a makeshift escape route between their fire escape and the burning apartment. And with an urgent helping hand, the trapped man tentatively walks to safety.
Eso fue que cuando tiraron esa agua.
After an inquisitive 2-month-old puppy called Martoom gets stuck in a pipe in Chiang Mai, Thailand, local rescuers are posed with a big problem. And so they get to work on an unorthodox rescue operation. They carefully cut the pipe before resorting to the tried and tested age-old method of, well, soap and water. The men work tirelessly until finally, after 40 minutes, the puppy is free. And all that's required now is an impromptu roadside bath before Martoom is ready to be returned to his owners. The helmet camera of paint shop worker Lainey Kluser captured a great escape for another four-legged friend during her daily commute in Oklahoma.
It was a Monday morning. I was headed to work. I had woke up a little bit late, and so I was mad at hitting a light. As I was sitting there, after a while, I just noticed the leaf. It was that time of the year where orange leaves are always blowing in the road with the wind.
But on closer inspection, Lainey realized the object that had caught her eye looked alive. She immediately acted on impulse.
Stop, stop, stop! I turned my blinker on, so hopefully the people behind me would see that something was going on and slow down.
Oh my God! I gotta get my bike out of the road. Stay there. I don't know where she belongs. Oh, you poor thing. No. Oh.
Let me hear. You can just put her in my helmet for now.
Are you sure?
Yes. I just called my husband Leo, and he came to pick us up in the car, and we went and got the cat carrier, and he stayed at work with me the rest of the day.
Lainey had filmed the heart-stopping moment. A 1-month-old kitten nearly used up all of its 9 lives when a number of vehicles passed right over it. Today, 8 weeks after this remarkable rescue, the kitten now has a new home and a new name.
We decided to call him Skidmark. It's kind of dark humor that he almost became a skid mark. And it's also, I think, kind of a cute nickname as Skids. This red car is the one that drops him right there. Oh, and that truck came so close.
Excuse me, you're getting in the way.
I think fate was obviously right there with us. I was kind of debating about driving my car that day, and if I had done that, I would not have hit that light and I wouldn't have seen him.
After the break, what happened next when this scuba diver came face to face with a grey seal?
I just couldn't believe that this was happening. It was a magical one-off experience.
Millions of us feel some sort of desire to connect with wildlife. But if you're setting out on an adventure at sea or in the wild, best not to assume that everyone's read the script.
The start of a mountain bike race at Albert Falls Dam in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. 17-year-old Evan van der Spuw is one of South Africa's leading riders. And he was pedalling at high speed through the bushlands when this totally unexpected event happened.
Whoa! Holy cow! Are you okay, dude?
Evan's colleague Travis Walker had filmed the moment the cyclist was taken out by a red hartebeest, a type of antelope that can weigh over 20 stone. Although unsurprisingly shaken, Evan didn't suffer any serious injuries, but did have a good excuse for not winning this race. Tourists Shane Wolfe and Stephen Montague were enjoying brunch at Manapul, Zimbabwe, when this elephant decided to see what was on the menu. The unruly 6-ton beast's table manners left a lot to be desired. Driving home in Avoyelles Parish, Louisiana...
Hey, what's my truck?
Keith Carmouche records the moment his car comes face to face with an alligator. Now, the most sensible thing to do would be to drive round one of the world's fiercest animals.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But unfortunately, Keith chose not to, costing him a new car bumper.
Son of a gun.
Off the coast of Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, Tony Pachot caught this extraordinary moment as an inquisitive sea lion chased after his fishing boat.
How the hell are they swimming that fast? Oh, hell yeah.
Seems this was one hungry as well as inquisitive creature.
Adios.
But remarkable encounters with sea life don't just happen on the other side of the world. The UK is home to around 120,000 grey seals, nearly 40% of the world's population, and 1,000 of them live here on the island of St Martin in the Scilly Isles. And it was in those waters that amateur diver Gary Grayson from Salford captured one of the most touching animal encounters you will ever see.
I always take my camera with me because you just don't know what's going to happen. The filming on that day was just different because there were so many seals in the water, and the one seal that approached me seemed to be around us for quite a long time. This is crazy. It shouldn't be happening. We're shaking hands. We're both looking at each other. We're trying to gain each other's trust. But as soon as she turns over and shows me her belly, then it was sort of like in the bag. And it's almost as though the seal was saying to me, this is what I want you to do. And she's obviously giving me a tap to say, keep on going, I'm enjoying that. The moment where she shuts her eyes when I'm tickling her neck, that's just sublime. It's just absolutely amazing. Just so playful. Obviously, I'd had enough of me by that point, so I just waved a goodbye and turned around to the cameras to say, absolutely fantastic. I just couldn't believe that this was happening and that I'd got such a close interaction with the seal. It was a magical one-off experience.
There are few things in life more beautiful than the natural world at its finest. Year upon year, it delivers some truly breathtaking moments that show how our planet continues to delight and surprise us. And now, thanks to devices like this, they're the moments that can be shared with the whole planet.
In Jämtland, Sweden, when Jonas Landmark and Karin Backborn took their dogs out for a walk, they also took their skates. Oh, and their camera. Resulting in this stunning footage as they glided across Lake Blankjarn. The crystal clear ice may be 10 centimeters thick, but it's still possible to see the fish swimming underneath it. Although, please do remember, don't try this at home.
Oh my gosh, it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in the sky.
Over in Costa Rica, Joseph Petit captured this rare and beautiful sight.
Look at the sky!
The phenomenon that left this young man in awe is known as a rainbow cloud.
Just awesome.
It's caused by water droplets or ice crystals in the atmosphere, scattering the light. Meanwhile, another spectacular scene unfolded in the skies above Sydney, Australia. This remarkable time-lapse footage captured a stunning cloud formation rolling toward the city. Known as shelf clouds, the phenomenon is caused by strong downdrafts of air underneath powerful thunderstorms. In Texas, this breathtaking electrical storm was caught on Darren Hiles' camera phone.
That's got to be the coolest lightning shot I've ever seen.
Well, this one wasn't bad either. Another light show brought to us by nature, this time in Iceland. Garda Olufsen filmed this spellbinding real-time footage of the Aurora Borealis, or Northern Lights. Now this may look like a scene from the movie Avatar, but these glowing waves in San Diego are caused by an algae bloom of bioluminescent phytoplankton. It looks like something from another world as these surfers ride some magical waves. On the 20th of March 2015, we all tried to catch a glimpse of one of the Earth's most spectacular phenomena, a solar eclipse. In northern parts of the UK, up to 98% of the sun's surface became masked by the moon, and some of us were lucky enough to capture some amazing images. German engineer Martin Junius went the extra mile to get his perfect shot, and took this footage from the seat of a Boeing 737, 35,000 feet above the Norwegian Sea. But perhaps the most stunning views were taken back down on the ground. This magnificent footage was taken by an amateur stargazer in Svalbard, Norway, far enough north for a total eclipse.
Oh, beautiful, prominent. Oh, look! Woo! Woo!
Nature at its most alluring. But sometimes moments happen that seem inexplicable and baffling. Just what do you do when a gigantic hole suddenly opens up in the ground in front of you? Imagine being there when something like this happens. The Trans-Amazonian Highway in northern Brazil, and a bus becomes stuck when part of the road collapses. Passengers are rushed off the bus, but no one could have anticipated what would happen next. As the hole widens, locals try to save the vehicle by attaching rope, but their efforts are in vain, as the bus disappears and is swept away into the fast-flowing river beneath. Nighttime at the National Corvette Museum in Kentucky. These vintage high-performance supercars sit quietly on display, but they're about to take an unexpected ride. Footage taken by a drone camera the next day shows the depth of the sinkhole. Heilongjiang province in China, and pedestrians go about their daily business. The 2-meter-deep hole hospitalized 4 people with minor injuries. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. This eerie scene developed near Bayou Corn in Louisiana. It takes just 30 seconds for the sinkhole beneath this swamp to guzzle up the trees, as if they never existed. Coming up, how does it feel when your tumble in the snow goes viral?
Oh, it sucks to have a mistake like that caught on camera.
In the 21st century, more and more people across the planet seem intent on pushing the boundaries of what the human body is capable of, with elaborate stunts and some very extreme sports. But whether they succeed or fail dramatically, one thing is for sure. These days, there'll usually be a camera on hand or on helmet, so we can all share in some crazy rides.
A group skydive above Paris, 80 miles southeast of Los Angeles. Although, as you'll see, this is no ordinary skydive. Aerial daredevils from the United States, Russia, Brazil, Italy, France, and Germany joined together at 7,000 feet. And with an astonishing 202 people connected, the group plunged into the record books with the world's largest ever sequential skydiving formation. Base jumper John Van Horn caused a splash, when he recorded this extraordinary footage after leaping from a skyscraper in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. But can you guess where he's heading? That's right, a pool party on top of another skyscraper. Well, as they say, it is important to make an entrance. But unfortunately, not every sporting endeavour goes according to plan. 24-year-old Ian McIntosh is a professional big mountain skier who makes extreme skiing videos for a living and has even appeared in Hollywood blockbusters.
I was Leonardo DiCaprio's stunt double in Inception.
But his real passion is to seek out the ultimate slope.
What we're trying to do is ski first descents, mountains that have never been skied before.
And it was while filming on location in Alaska for a film called Paradise Waits that Ian was set to take on one of the most dangerous rides of his life.
We were really excited to get out there and go try and ski this face that we knew would have been a first descent. No one had ever skied it before.
But with the film cameras rolling, what promised to be the ultimate run would go horribly wrong. And all recorded in excruciating detail on Ian's own helmet cam. Ian had careered out of control down the mountain, falling nearly 500 meters in just 40 seconds. But despite such a horrific fall, he emerged relatively unscathed, with just bumps and bruises.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I was pretty sore. I had a little bit of a tweaked knee. My neck was super sore from just like my helmet hitting the snow over and over and over again. But really it wasn't like anything bad.
And it didn't take long for the dramatic fall to be posted on social media and shared with the world. So how does Ian feel about the biggest slip-up of his career, making him an internet sensation?
Oh, it sucks to have like a mistake like that caught on camera. You know, I'm not super psyched actually about it going viral. If it was up to me, that crash would have just like been deleted from the hard drive and like no one would have ever seen it. And everyone would just think that I'm like this super cyborg mountain slayer that never makes a mistake. But, you know, that's not the case. So it is what it is.
For Ian, that was a particularly memorable working day. But he's not the only one whose bad day at the office has been caught on camera and shared on the internet. In Alphen aan den Rijn, Western Holland, 2 cranes hoist a massive section of bridge during renovation work over the Old Rhine River. This heart-stopping moment was filmed from 3 different angles, which, put together, shows the sheer devastation and carnage caused by the falling cranes. Despite such a serious accident, miraculously, there were only minor injuries. In gales of over 50 miles an hour, plane enthusiasts at Birmingham Airport filmed the hair-raising moments these pilots' flying skills were pushed to the limit while attempting to land. Indeed, this particular pilot thought the better of it and took back to the skies for another approach. Now, what's the worst job you've ever had? This might come close. In footage captured by a diner on his mobile phone at the Shanghai World Financial Center, 2 cleaners crash time and time again into the window of the restaurant on the 91st floor after their platform spins out of control. Meanwhile, in this Russian warehouse, a young trainee takes his first drive in a forklift truck. Well, his pride may have been bruised, but he was otherwise unhurt.
Perhaps unlike some of the workers we've just featured, I hope you've enjoyed more of our unbelievable moments caught on camera. Sometimes extraordinary stories, like the ones we've seen tonight, can be very personal. So just time before we go, to finish with a heartwarming and emotional event, captured in the playground of St Julian's Primary School in Newport, South Wales. It's a moving story involving staff, hundreds of children, and one very special teacher.
I'm Margaret Gabika, and I taught at the primary school for 25 years.
Mrs Gabika was really bubbly, really happy, a bit crazy, a bit of a joker, would always bring us cake on a Wednesday. Yeah, we loved having Mrs Gabika here.
After teaching thousands of children at the school, in 2015, Margaret Gabika felt the time was right for her retirement.
She did a quarter of a century with us, and any teacher who's served a school, served a community for that long, deserves a special goodbye.
We knew she was such a big fan of flash mobs, she'd spend ages watching them online, that one of the other teaching assistants came up with the idea, let's do a flash mob for Mrs Gabika.
With the decision made, staff chose a song called He Lives in You from the stage version of The Lion King, Margaret's favourite musical.
That was the easiest choice, was the song. We knew it had to be something from The Lion King.
But with only 3 weeks until her final day, the whole school was faced with the almighty challenge of learning the dance and keeping it secret.
And I don't think she ever knew about it. I don't think any of the 350 children gave it away.
I didn't suspect a thing. Nothing at all.
And on the last day of term, as Margaret stepped onto the schoolyard for the final break duty of her career, the staff and pupils prepared themselves for a totally unexpected farewell that their beloved colleague would never forget.
All the children were coming down from the top and positioning themselves on the path.
I think she sensed something was going on, but I don't think she guessed we were doing a flash mob.
It was just absolutely incredible.
And then when the chorus comes in, you see all the hands moving in synchronization. I mean, it was a great feeling. One of those goose pimply times where you think, oh, this is fantastic.
He lives in you. He lives in me. He watches over everything we see.
I taught every one of those children. I knew them all, loved them all, and they were doing that.
I'm so happy that it's been caught on camera, especially her reaction, because that's going to be a little bit timeless.
Everything we see into the water, into the truth, in your reflection.
It's as much a blur now as it was then. When I said I was going to retire to the girls, and they said, what do you want? I said, what? I don't want a fuss. I don't want a fuss. And they gave me a fuss.
Children really valued being part of something like that. It was a lovely high to the end of the term, really lovely.
How could you not be moved by that? It was wonderful, wonderful. I am so lucky.
Coming up next this Sunday here on ITV, a traitor is exposed in New Beowulf, return to the Shield Lands. Then in an hour's time, it's the summer of love, but not for young Morse, who's searching for a missing au pair in new endeavour.